Should start inside. Sam Costello comes in. What was the decision made between him and your Lloyd?
Oh, it was a tough call. We've been pretty happy with Johan's development at 10. Probably things didn't go as well for Sam in that first half against Scotland. So he's been someone we've been working closely with in terms of the World Cup stuff. I think it was easier for him in the World Cup because he sort of come in and thought, I've got a couple of experienced teams in front of him and just make the most of the opportunities. And I think I spoke to him that week of the Scotland game, and I think it kind of dawned on him, oh my God, I'm the Wales number 10, and I think we're all pretty well aware what the expectations and pressures are with that sort of job. So he was pretty nervous for that first game. So we wanted to get him back and up and playing again with limited changes.
Looking ahead to Ireland, then, is this your biggest test of the tournament so far?
Oh, it's going to be, yeah. So look, we know how good a side they are. They're a settled team. They're world class. They haven't been beaten at home for a long time. Well coached. Got a lot of familiar combinations with a number of players in their squad from Leinster, and it's a big challenge for us. But we're excited about it. There's a lot of stuff being said about us being underdogs. That's not any motivation for us. The motivation for us is the pressure we're putting on ourselves to get better from game 1 and game 2, is to put a more complete performance on. The match just continue to develop and be more accurate. I couldn't have asked more from the players this week in terms of the way they've prepared and trained. The attitude's been fantastic, and we're pretty excited.
What are Ireland doing well at the moment that you're keen to stop on Saturday?
Oh, they're just comfortable in opposition when they get the ball. They don't tend to play a lot of rugby in their own half. They've got a good exit strategy, but when they get the ball in your half, they've got the ability to keep it for multi-phases, and that really stresses you. So we've got to be smart about that and not allow them to play the game on their own terms, and that's when they're incredibly dangerous. And just one moment from them, can change the momentum of a game. So they've got some key individuals, and we've got to look to take our game to them, to put them under pressure, to try and unsettle them, not in a negative way, but definitely in a positive way.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi Warren, you brought Harry O'Connor in this week. Have Tom both been under consideration?
We had Harry in for the Barbarian stuff and that, so we wanted to keep in some continuity in terms of that selection. Him having been with the squad before, so and we've probably looked at the age profile as well in terms of that too.
How confident are you with this decision? You've taken quite a stance in putting your faith in youngsters. Are you sort of set for that for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, or is it just the Six Nations and then you'll review everything? I think maybe we do need a little bit of experience to come back in next season.
Well, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, aren't you? It's kind of like
I guess people.
I mean, you're questioning the decision, and if we've gone the other way and we've got experience, and we're saying, why aren't we going with youth? Why aren't we giving the youngsters an opportunity in developing them? So, but we've made that step at the moment. We feel like we're building for the future. We've got some really talented young players at the moment who need some time. We've kept some experience in the squad with players like Gareth Davies and George North. Whether they're going to make the next World Cup, given the amount of rugby they've played over the years, we've got some players to come back into it in terms of Dowie Lake and Jack Morgan, maybe Talupe Faletau as well. We've made that decision because we feel like there's an opportunity for us to develop this team over the next couple of years. Having a chat with Steve Borthwick, they're kind of in the same sort of situation at the moment. He was saying, when does he transition some of his older players who probably won't be there for the next World Cup, and we've kind of made that decision already. So hopefully people can see what we're trying to do. I think this group of players have been, I'm really excited about them, and I think there's a chance to really develop and grow this group, for the long-term benefit of the international game in Wales.
Tell us about Mackenzie Martin.
Pardon?
Tell us about Mackenzie Martin.
He's as green as anything. He's raw, but he's got some talent. And again, we're trying to not throw in too many new faces all at once. We're trying to integrate some of them in. And he had eight games for Cardiff, and that's top level rugby, and he goes to play one of the best teams in the world, and he'll get some good game time on Saturday, and just want to see him get his hands on the ball and defend. Look, for a 20-year-old, he's 118 kgs. He's only going to get bigger and stronger, but he just needs to start learn about playing the game at this level, and that's just going to take a little bit of time for him.
And where does it stand in your career in terms of the challenges you face taking such a young, fresh green side to face what is?
Oh, it's not. I'm excited by it. I'm really. I couldn't have asked more from this group in terms of there's a great group of players who are working incredibly hard. There's an opportunity for some of the youngsters and the leaders within the group, with the experience we've got, and others to come in to mould this team over the next few years about what direction they want to take it, and not so much from me. What are their expectations? What are the things that we expect from ourselves, and that's what this week is about. It's not the external pressure. It's what we're putting on ourselves about us going and improving and make sure we go there without any fear and go and play some positive rugby.
Thank you.
Alex?
Warren, the forecast for the game on Saturday is pretty good. Is that why you've trained here? Because obviously it's not been dry in Wales.
It's probably, since I've been here, it's probably the wettest Six Nations that I've experienced in terms of it's been challenging with the training pitch, which has been waterlogged on a number of occasions, and we've trained indoors in the barn. We've trained here on a few occasions, and thankfully we've been able to do that. But it was about just coming here, looking at the weather conditions, getting on a firmer surface. Probably what we're going to experience on Saturday, rather than playing in a waterlogged, training in a waterlogged pitch back at the Vale.
Is the Castle pitch been out of not out of bounds, but unusual really?
No, we've been using it. It's just been heavy. A couple of times we haven't used it and we've trained indoors. So it's been a bit of a challenge, something we haven't faced before in the past. So just probably a reflection of how wet the Six Nations has been.
Just asking me, the conditions that you're going to experience, does that suit maybe the type of rugby you're trying to play with this young team?
I think so. Yeah. Look, we want to play heads up rugby. We've tried to be positive in the way that we've played. We've probably on a few occasions overplayed, but that's part of the learning about some game management decisions. But we've I've been pretty happy with our attacking stuff and what we've tried to do and create, and I think with Ireland they're incredibly organised. They like playing a pretty structured game, and there is opportunities when the ball becomes and the game becomes a little bit loose from turnovers, from counter attack chances. We've seen that with a few games, particularly probably in the World Cup quarter final where the All Blacks have scored and put them under a little bit of pressure. So we've got to be alive to that. We've got to be ready when those opportunities present themselves, and make sure that we have the courage and we're bold enough to exploit any of those chances.
David?
Warren, you made it clear that Twickenham held no terrors, and quite rightly. What are the overriding emotions going back to Lansdowne Road?
Lansdowne Road's long gone, but we'll go to the Aviva.
Old school one.
Yeah, the terraces there. Look, it's we've spoken all week about having no fear to go there. We probably, when we've reflected about it, and David Jenkins spoke about, we probably went into that game, the first game, with a little bit too much respect for Scotland in that first half, and kind of that was a message at half time, and I think we saw an improvement. Up in Twickenham, again, there's a number of learnings from that and those close games, how you manage that, and in fairness to England, I thought their kicking game was excellent, and they were just patient and waiting for an opportunity, and they took that, and we probably haven't got that experience and at the moment to be able to handle those situations, and making sure that we learn from those. And then, this weekend, playing against one of the best teams in the world, have been there for the last 2 or 3 years like that. It's going to be a huge challenge for us, but you've got to embrace it. You've got to be excited about that, and spoken to the players about stepping up in big moments and being the one who wants to be a part of a big moment, not having any fear about that, and not going into your shell, and that's part of our definitely part of our growth.
Is it easier to pick up a team after a 1 or 2 point defeat than it would be if you lost by 6 or 7, or is a defeat a defeat? And
I think it's kind of how you look at it, and we've had 2 defeats. We could have easily quite comfortably, not comfortably, we could have had 2 close wins as well. So, and that, I don't know whether that puts more pressure on you. It's probably, for me, it's about, I think if we'd had 2 wins, we'd probably be, ironically, probably feeling a little bit more comfortable and going there, and I don't know if mentally if you're on edge, but we've spoken about international rugby. The expectation is about winning. It's about winning international rugby. It's about improving and getting better, and I think that's where we are as a team, and we're pretty honest about that at the moment. I think the players are aware that we've got a huge amount of growth in us, and where we can be in the next 12 months or so. But it isn't a hide away from the fact that it's still about how important it is to win in international rugby, because that's the expectation. And when you put that jersey on, everyone expects you to go out there and perform and to win. And I can't fault the effort of the players and their attitude and stuff. But reality is we've lost those 2 games when we potentially could have won both of them as well.
Okay, and we'll finish up with Rob.
What's the key difference between Welsh rugby and Irish rugby at the moment? Or why have they turned this around so heavily in the last decade or so? And why have they become a dominant force in European rugby, Northern Hemisphere? What have they got that we haven't, and what have they got that we need?
I think they've just got the right structures in place, and probably if I look at the previous time we were here, we kind of were papering over the cracks of the things that were happening behind in Welsh rugby, and we have got an opportunity for a reset, which unfortunately I'm not 100% convinced that we are going to have a proper reset within our regions, and it's probably felt like sometimes you're in a sinking ship and you're just trying to plug the holes a little bit, and so there's still lots of work for us to do in terms of, definitely their central contracts and their structures. I think it took a long time. It took a while for them, but I suppose that's benefited from the performance of their provincial teams, and that's transferred into the international team. It took a while. We were probably the other way around. We were the reverse, and at the moment we're probably reflective of where our regions are, and we've got to look at closing their gap. An interesting discussion that someone said. Alex Mann as a 20-year-old came into us, and we had the sponsors dinner, and one of the questions asked by someone on the table was, he came into us and he said, I now know what a professional environment is like and what it should be like, and that's what we've got to encourage our regions to be like that. I continue to speak about infrastructure, getting the right infrastructure right, the right environment, the right S&C coaches, medical staff, quality coaches, training facilities, grounds and stuff. Forget about the players. You get that right, and then you start building your squad. But we've tended to probably do it the other way around, or with a 50-50, and then that's, like I said, that feels like just plugging up the holes of a leaking ship. So there's still lots of work for us to do, and the thing with Ireland, they look like they've got their structures right, but you know, the only way we're going to do it as a group is if we work together and we support each other. Everyone talks about the finances, and I understand that, but it's making the right decisions. Is the more money going to be to go to buying players, or is the extra money going to be fixing up the infrastructure and the facilities and quality people in your backroom team and coaching and, like I said, medical and S&C support?
Well, it's interesting, you know, Cardiff have gone young, everyone's bought into it, the crowds have turned up. They've now been able to take their defence coach for more than 2 days a week. They haven't got a gym now, or they won't have at the end of the season.
Yeah.
They haven't put any money into their sort of training facilities, got worse and worse and worse. So you're quite right, you made this point right at the start of the season, that if you don't start there, you're never going to get there.
Yeah, and we've got to look at the long term, and there's always a short term fix, and the short term fix is to go and buy 2 or 3 players that might plug a couple of holes, but if we don't think about the long term benefit of the game and how it's and the infrastructure we've got, we're just going to be behind the 8 ball continually. So my advice to all the regions is, don't worry about the players. If it means focusing on picking young players in your squad, make sure you spend the money on your facilities. Make sure you spend the money on the right people within your environment. The best medical team you can get, the best S&C staff you can get, the best coaches you can get, and then start worrying about the players afterward. That's what I would be doing if I was at one of the regions. And I said we've got to probably raise the level and the standards and the expectations at regional level, so when they come into us, the gap's not as big. And it's not. I'm not talking about. It's when the new players come into us for the first time that kind of go. You know, we try and create a no excuses environment with having the best people we can possibly have, to give them the best opportunity to develop and improve as players, and to give us the best chance to perform in the weekend.